Sit and do nothing. This is how meditation looks like on the surface. Simple. Try for 5 minutes and it will surprise you. The first lesson of meditation is the experience of how much is going on in our mind when we do nothing. This section introduces the meditation session, the building block of our practice. Realistic expectations are important every time we start a long endeavor. So besides describing basic techniques, we also speak about what to expect. 15 minutes doesn't seem long until we try to sit still. Meditation is about stripping the mind with all activities, so we need to sit motionless. So first we need to adopt the right posture. Our posture should be comfortable enough to stay still, enable easy breathing, and prevent falling asleep. A posture of sitting with a straight back without leaning on anything meets all 3 criteria. Also, the traditional stereotypic meditative position is sitting cross-legged on the floor or on a footstool or zafu. This is not essential. In fact, sitting cross-legged makes our progress with meditation slower, but can be a good training in discipline if we choose to. Unless we decide to become ardent meditators, we better start with sitting on a chair and consider sitting cross-legged later. Our place provides isolation in space, but we also need isolation in time to tune in to meditation. The starting ritual serves this sole purpose. Our ritual should help us unwind, calm down, and provide some separation between our mundane tasks and thought and our meditation sessions. There are no other criteria. If we are religious, we can pray, but chanting, lighting a candle, or a short metta meditation, or just arranging objects on our altar are just as appropriate. A simple ritual that we can repeat anywhere and every time we meditate is powerful because it can create a cozy, familiar atmosphere. Once we sit in comfort with a straight back and completed our ritual, the core of our meditation session begins. Our goal is to eliminate all thoughts and feelings and clear our mind. But we cannot just turn off our thoughts, so we slow down and let them fade. We do not have a switch to slow our body and mind, but our physiological processes synchronize so we can use our breath to give them a rhythm. We use our breath because that is the only physiological process we can control at will. Our goal is to give our body a slow, even pace to synchronize to. So we breathe at a slow, even pace. Deep breathing also fills our lungs and cells with oxygen. To slow our body, we breathe slower than usual and watch our breath, observing the passing air under our nose. This observation facilitates synchronization and also gives our attention a resting point. To eliminate thoughts, we need to tame our attention. We give our mind a simple task it can return from all the distractions it finds. We may wonder what distractions our mind can find in a tranquil, isolated place. Our first attempt of meditation will clear our doubts. Once we sit still, breathe slow and even, and eliminate all external stimuli, our mind amplifies all the little noises in our environment and turns inwards. We hear the slightest noise, we feel strain and pain. Our nose, ears, and back itch. Our mind works hard to give us reasons to move, to react, to give up this idea of doing nothing. Body sensations are simple part. The harder we try not to think, the more thoughts emerge. One thought brings another. Eventually, our internal movie gets to a touching or painful memory, and we dive deep in emotional whirlpool. When we try to resist, we trigger another cascade of feelings interrupted only by the strain in our back or our itching nose. Our only weapon against this turmoil is our slow, even breath. Whenever we catch our mind drifting, we gently direct our attention back to the passing air under our nose. We repeat this cycle until our timer alarm goes off. Not what you expected? The way our meditative journey begins is far from the blissful immersion of enjoying the present moment we would expect. As we practice, our experience changes. But progress is not linear. When we learn a skill, periods of advancement, blockages, and fallbacks alternate. When we look at several weeks or months, we see and recognize progress. But our next session can be better or worse than the previous one. Besides pondering the chances of experiencing extraordinary breakthrough in our next session only makes our mind busy. A busy mind, in return, needs more time to unwind. Start each session without expectations. When we let our attachment to strive for results go, we trigger less resistance and get one step closer to success. While previous sessions doesn't predict the next, we can trust the result of persistent practice. By time body sensations fade and our mind needs less time to unwind. First, we experience occasional results, moments of calmness we have not experienced before, volatile episodes of joy coming from nowhere. Then these exceptions become more frequent and our confidence builds. Confidence shortens the time we need to calm further and the positive feedback loop sets in. This is not a fast and even process, but we have nothing else to do than complete the next session each day with no compulsion to succeed. What does completing a session means? How do we know whether we completed if it doesn't depend on the results? Simple. Sit and breathe until our timer bell rings. Regardless of whether we struggle with emerging thoughts or find it easy to clear our mind, our session is complete and successful whenever we stay to the end. In addition, responding to an emergency is not a failure. Skipping a day or two for being too tired or emotional is not a failure. Ending our session when we cannot withstand an emotional storm is not a failure. These are all parts of the process, parts of being human. Be patient to yourself. We should test progress by looking back to a few months, not to our last session. In this section, we introduced the anatomy of a meditation session. We parsed its stages and peeked into the experience waiting for us. We set realistic expectations about our initial experience, but I still owe you some tools to overcome the obstacles.